Hello guys, welcome to really, I would say this is gonna be a really long video. For a while I wanted to film this video. So long story short, as it can be. So since I've gotten married, well actually in my old place where I was living, as it's not rented or anything, I'm having some of the stuff I'm storing there. So basically the moment I'll say that I keep that place as my second storage. So right now where I'm living, I'm having my filming studio and I do have a place here, but I'm not quite sure that I took everything that I currently have when it comes to eyeshadow palettes. So some of the palettes, I think they're still there. Some of the palettes I try to relocate around my house because if I haven't used something for already couple of years, I'll say, I just put that in some other place, and everything that is current that I'm using or that I stopped using recently and just having for the reference are here. So I've tried to combine everything that I can, to find everything that I can, and just to go through everything and try to get rid of certain palettes. In the meantime, a couple of palettes that are recent releases I don't have at the moment, but I still wanted to mention them. And some of them, it's really time to let them go because I don't even know why I'm keeping them, you know. Some of them I know for a fact that have been expired, so some of them I'll have to just get rid of them, and some of them, if I need them because of the color story, just to have them aside storage, just to stay there, be there, I may just keep a couple of them. I don't know what's going to happen during this video, but I guess you can go and follow me on this little journey today as I will go through everything and just kind of I wanted to remind myself because with so many launches, especially like eyeshadow launches last year, I missed a lot of them, to be honest, but there's been a lot. I don't know what are we going to or what we can expect for 2024. We're about to see that as well. Certain launches already started happening, obviously, but sometimes I like to remind myself to give yet another shot to certain palette. Even though I review products as a job, I don't like the fact that there is so many that sometimes I just try one palette once and not give it another shot. Like, obviously some of them not good quality, you can see that the performance is it's just underperforming, and okay, I know I can get rid of that one, but at the same time I want to go through anything that I can find at this moment just to try to rethink another looks that I can create with it. And also, if you would have any suggestions based on what I have, please let me know so I can create something for you. I don't have any specific plan on how I'm gonna do this, so anyways, let's just dive into this video. So this is gonna be like some sort of mix between the palettes that are really old, like releases from, I don't know, maybe even 2018, then some of the newest releases, some of the expired ones, etc. So we'll see what we have. Let's start with Makeup by Mario. So one of most recognized eyeshadow palette from Makeup by Mario are these two, Ethereal Eyes, which is new palette and also recently been re-released. This one that I have right here is the original one, and then we have Master Matte, which is his original palette. And I mean, if you are makeup artist, this is something that I would highly recommend to you because these are inspired by a human skin tone. So as you can see, I haven't used this one as much as I think I would or should. It's really hard to see the longevity. This one says 24, and I just wish that this one was also 24. Unfortunately, this one is having a shelf life of 12 months, which means it is past time of its shelf life. And I just have to tell you how much I really do enjoy this palette. I love this palette and the formula even better than the original one. I think this first formula was a little bit kind of a hard press, if that makes sense. These feel much more softer in the formulation, and of course we have been introduced to these toppers, which are something original. They really are. I know we have a lot of the stuff in the market today, but really are. And I'm so happy with the color choice and undertones that he chose in here when it comes to these mattes. Really love. Also, we do have 2 metallic shimmers right here. Yeah, and this one was really great as well. So I don't know if this is still available. Like I mentioned, this was released, and I would definitely love to, I don't know, buy this again. Like if I am doing clients, I would definitely have these 2 with me, because this is like essential stuff that you need. Himself being makeup artist, I understand the background behind these 2 palettes, and yeah, definitely can agree with everything that has been presented here. So I'm going to keep this just like in storage, just because of the color story, or in case he doesn't, if this release was the last one for this palette. Unfortunately, if that's the case, I'll be sad. I think he should put this in his permanent line, you guys. I really do. And this one still, I think I still have time to use this one. I'll have to check the exact date, so I will like put this aside to check, and this one just to have it aside because I need this for future reference. Here we have one of the newest releases from Tom Ford. This is Soleil Neige Lumiere d'Hiver palette, and this is gorgeous. I cannot emphasize enough how, yes, of course, it's Tom Ford. It is super expensive, but the quality and the shade range in this palette is amazing. I'm really loving it. These 2 more as the toppers. These 2 are beautiful matte shades, and you can create beautiful looks with it. Of course, the packaging is stunning as well. Yeah, I love this undertone to lighten up any look that I'm doing. If you're watching my videos, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, the packaging is stunning. Not much that I can say about it. Unfortunately, 12 months of shelf life, and I hopefully will. This is one of the palettes that would have to use again to have usage more out of it. I will be sad just to say that I've used this liner a couple of times and that's it. This is the shade that I regularly, I can say, use. These 2 less, but yeah, I definitely would love to incorporate this one into my looks. This is older release. This is Makeup by Lina, and this is from Be Perfect. We do have interesting color range. It's really colorful, really bright, and whenever I'm doing colorful looks, this is something that it's kind of inspiring. These glitters, they are kind of more on a chunky side. The mattes in here, they are like hard press, which is, now when I think about it, even other palette that I have, give me a second, this one is 24 months shelf life as well. So this is Carnival palette XL Pro, Stacy Marie, and again, this palette has been loved as well. You can definitely see some of the shades that I definitely hit the pan and used a lot, but these mattes as well, they're super, especially some of them even more harder than the other ones, you know, they are like super hard. I just wanted to remind myself of the texture. I don't know, I think this one is still available. She had a couple of interesting releases with the Be Perfect, and really creative when it comes to makeup artistry palettes, especially certain shades that I've used a lot. Anyways, like the formulation here is pretty much the same when it comes to mattes, but then when it comes to these chunky glitters, they're really chunky, you know. So you have to be kind of careful when you apply these. Let's talk a little bit about NYX Cosmetics. I do have a couple of eyeshadow palettes here, and this is Ultimate, wait a second, Ultimate Brights palette. Unfortunately, this one expired. It did have 24 months shelf life, but the color story in here, you can create such a versatile colors, even if you combine, for example, this row with these purples right here, or whatever you do, you can create a lot of different looks, or you can just go one cohesive look with just one row. The quality for this price, the quality is really good, you guys. And one of the special shades from them, I'll say, like the Foil Play Pigment Eyeshadow Palette. eyeshadow pigments actually. Some undertones were really specific, and these look gorgeous on the eyes. I'm not sure if these are still available, but this is definitely something that I would purchase again. Now I'm just being reminded of how gorgeous these are. But the only downside of these is that they last you 6 months, which is crazy and kind of far. I don't remember if this was in the beginning. Like you can see in the texture how it started to kind of crumble. Anyways, certain undertones are so beautiful. For the highlight, this one or this right here, combo is great. This shade was, oh, it was stunning. I used this one as well multiple times. These two, not that much. But overall, I've used this eyeshadow palette more. Gorgeous. Or I would combine these with this kind of green undertone shade. Beautiful, beautiful. If I would have to, like, if I have a chance to repurchase this, honestly, I would. Beautiful pigments. What's next? Oh, when we talk about beautiful pigments, so let me just, I had a third eyeshadow palette from this series. So Huda Beauty Obsessions palette are one of my favorites, kind of smaller palettes, and also her palettes in general. Now I had, so here I have Amethyst and Ruby. I also had a third one, which was a brown one from this collection, and I cannot find it. I don't know what happened with it. So from Amethyst palette, this combo that she done, this is amazing. I don't know again if this is available. If it is, this shade right here, this is such a amazing topper. This for me goes even beyond, for example, Makeup by Mary toppers that I said from Ethereal Eyes that I really love. This combo right here, oh my god, like these two, you can see I hit the pan, how beautiful these are, and these two again undertones. I can't say enough good words about this palette. Oh, but then I don't have that palette anymore, but I just remembered Color Block. Yeah, I was disappointed by that one. Like, it was same, it was a similar idea, the Obsessions, but these were my favorites, or from Huda. Yeah, I use this one a lot as well, like kind of a true reds in here with a combo of different undertones. Gorgeous. I wish she continues doing like this type of a theme obsession, small obsessions palette. Honestly, I can't remember where my third eyeshadow palette is. So these are expired. I just kept this, for example, I just kept this because for this specific shade, this specific undertone, just to have a reminder of if I can even compare something like this in my recent collection, or something that Huda will eventually come with the newest releases or whatever. Here I have two Illamasqua palettes. This brand is amazing, especially for the makeup artists. I feel like in general, especially like here on the YouTube, I don't see that much popularity of the Illamasqua. I'm not quite in a, like, having any info recently, to be honest, what's going on with them. So I'm having two palettes in here. This is Elemental Artistry palette. As the name says, it's really essential and beautiful. Unveiled. So Unveiled and Elemental palette. These are both great palettes. I have tutorials for both of these palettes, and again, if you're a makeup artist, this is a great brand to work with. As you can see, you can't even see the shade in here. It was lighter than this brown shade. It was beautiful transitional color that I absolutely loved. Here, when it comes to the shimmers, I wasn't super impressed, but everything in here, as you can see, also was really loved, and I used it a lot. So yeah, I did have usage out of these palettes. Good quality palettes. I know they are a bit pricey, but they are at the end worth your money. The only thing I would like to mention, like I would say, is just for these shimmers, like they're okay, but they're nothing super crazy. But sometimes if you want to do something much more subtle, if you like that type of a finish, then you'll be fine with this palette as well. Let me go back with the Huda Beauty. So latest release the big release was Pretty Grunge palette. So one of the other palettes that I had, don't have it anymore. Kind of was disappointing for me. It was Empowered palette, and then she came out recently with a Pretty Grunge palette, and this for me was a game changer compared to previous one. And you can divide it into 2 color stories, and this is gorgeous. The pigment is gorgeous. This shade Rebel here, such a gorgeous shade. The only thing I couldn't get aboard with it was this grunge shade, because if this was creamy pigment to apply it as a base underneath, I will be all in, but unfortunately it doesn't do much. It's so sheer. Definitely gonna have to have more usage out of this one. I highly recommend this one if you are into this color story. And it's not necessarily that like it can look intimidating in the sense that we have deeper shades, and not necessarily, you still can have lighter version of eye looks with this palette. And if you're having light skin tone, deep skin tone, you can find your color story in here, which is great. And it's not that orange base, which sometimes her palettes, certain palettes can be, so that's gorgeous. Let me just tell you this shade right here. Oh, what? It's like a mirror. It's like a mirror. Beautiful. I love this shade. Definitely not only a keeper, but I have to have more usage out of this. I have to remember that. Palette that I paid a lot of money for this one, and unfortunately, it didn't, like, in my opinion, justify the price. Some of the people like, what's going on? Like, the packaging is 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. It's gorgeous. Some people do love these undertones and the browns, but then we have a big skip, and then we have different color story in a sense that we have different formulas, and it's like a 2 divided palette, you know. I don't know, as beautiful as it is, at the same time, I don't think it's worth the money that originally it was. This is a limited edition, but if you want to try this palette, if you really like the color story in here, which by the way, the quality of these right here I didn't like. Maybe some of you would like that are super soft and everything, but I didn't. I like the pigmented eyeshadow, even though regardless of its depth and everything. Yeah, just make sure to get this on sale, because again, it's a limited edition, but I don't know, I felt like it just wasn't worth my money. I used this a couple of times, and I'll have to definitely think about this one. Okay, something from Sigma. Amazing palette, a little bit hard to maintain, but overall idea and everything, oh my god. Sigma New Matte palette. Unfortunately, another expired palette that I haven't had a chance to use as much as I wanted. And by the way, I know some of you will say, and I've already seen some of the comments, that some of you do have, like, I don't know, 5-year-old eyeshadow palette and use it. But at a certain point, you guys, the eyeshadow, even if you're doing that, eyeshadows will lose any ability to do anything for you. If you're having, for example, then what, 10-year-old eyeshadow palette, do you really think that's okay to use it? I don't know, when is the time then to stop, even though, okay, we have here 12 or 24 months shelf life and that's it. I'm not saying anything is going to happen if you use it 1 month after its shelf life, but I just don't want to set example to anyone to use something out of its shelf life, especially like if you're working with clients. That's just it shouldn't be an option, you know, because of the other people. You personally, of course, individually, you can do whatever you want. I'm just saying, either way, even if I use this palette right now, even I know it's expired, I don't think it's going to happen something to me, but I just don't want to, you know, set wrong example to any of you, or to do something that I don't believe in, you know. And I do believe that because of my background, working with clients is not something that I would do to anyone, so I just don't, you know, want to do that. Back to the palette, amazing color story. I really, as much as I use it, of course, could have used it more. Yeah, definitely should have used it more. The brush that came in here, I didn't like this at all for the eyes. Like, this is too bulky for the eyeshadow. Like, I cannot use this brush, you guys, for this deep eyeshadow or whatever. But this is amazing for me, honestly, to apply my base, eye base, or even when I apply concealer underneath the eye, to just smudge everything and to apply with this, smudge with this. It's amazing. But to apply this, like with this brush, this eyeshadow is just not working, you know. Anyways, amazing. The quality is great. The color story is something that I love, so yeah. Okay, here I have Natasha Denona. I need a nude and glam palette. We all know the color story, right? Once again, side by side. Honestly, not too crazy, not too drawn to do something with it. Like, I don't know. I initially thought I'm gonna love more my I need a nude palette, my dream palette. Speaking of, I really do like love and enjoy my dream palette. It's been the most, I'm having the most usage out of this one, I think. This one has been one of my most loved palettes ever, and I really, really, really love it. Also, the newest mini version of this. I have all individually sorted on my channel if you want to see specific looks and everything on each of these palettes. But yeah, I'm both enjoying both of these palettes. I really do. And I really do love her minis. You have, if you want to try good Natasha Denona formula, you always can try her mini version of the palette and always later decide if you want to go and purchase like the big palette. These are definitely all keeper when it comes to palettes, because obviously I need them for comparison. And also one of like Natasha's formula, Natasha's palettes are one of the first palettes in general I think of when I am creating look that can be combined within kind of any palette. If I want to create whatever look comes to my mind, then for sure, for the most part, it's gonna be at least one of the eyeshadow from Natasha Denona. Here I have Danessa Myricks Light Work 4 and 5. I didn't try her 1, 2, 3 edition, which I think she really elevated. Like these last two palettes are, we have so many different formulas and everything. I think she did upgrade it in this number 5 palette, in a sense that she took off certain formulas that we don't have now in the number 5, which again, I'm thinking personally people were either kind of confused or just was harder to work with them. As you can see, these right here barely even touched because the formula was, well, it wasn't something that was useful for me, unfortunately. But I have to say the multichromes from here I enjoyed more than here. Like the only truly shifting multichrome in here, I'll say like truly, it's this Fierce, where here almost all of them are super shifty, you know. I enjoyed both of these palettes, you guys. Like I really did. Being creative with something like this, it's not hard when the palette inspires you, and I cannot wait. I just cannot wait for the Lightwork 6 palette. Yes, they are super expensive, but the thing here is that the multichromes and the formulas that we have in here are actually really expensive to formulate, so that's the reason why the palettes have to be expensive, you know. Now let's talk about Pat McGrath. Usually, and even on my channel here, I'd like to compare Pat McGrath mostly with the Natasha Denona. That's one of my favorite comparisons. When it comes to her brand, like we have big jump between, for example, different types of motherships. This is her original style when it comes to her motherships, and then we have quads in the same package and formula. Well, that been changed recently due to her newest releases, unfortunately, I'll say that. But the formulas, even though they're called motherships, are different. Packaging, formula, everything. But one thing when it comes to Natasha, when we are talking about baby version, minis, or her original big palettes, like the formula is there. It doesn't matter if you have 3 or 15 eyeshadows, which which is actually what I like. And I don't know, honestly, I would pay more for a good quality than having like 20 eyeshadows and I have the good quality. Anyways, this is where is the Vixen. I was in love with this shadow here. Overall, the color story, not too crazy about it. This multi-chrome right here, if you can see, unfortunately on the lids, the color was nice, but on the lids, unfortunately, it was super chunky and emphasizing your skin texture so much. So that's one of the things I didn't like it. When you swatch it full opacity, I wasn't too happy with it. But as you can see, that have like really beautiful shifting, if the camera can catch that. But the formula, I wasn't too happy with it. You can't even compare it with the powder multi-chromes, for example, which are super easy plus looking fabulous. It's like magic. I don't know what I do to make it that way, but it's beautiful. Anyways, I loved this kind of warmer lighter shade as well, but overall it's good palette, but it's pricey palette. You know, if you can buy something from Pat McGrath on a lower price, then go for it, right? And this is really handy for the traveling. Packaging is there, so I am happy about that. And as you can see, this shade was the most used. It's gorgeous shade, especially for the glam look. It's amazing. This one was a little bit too kind of a warm red, and this was kind of a too cool tone compared to this one, to layer one on top of each other. So definitely good. Can't have any more use out of it. And speaking of Pat McGrath, here we have her Bijou collection, where she came out with her big motherships, which are in combination with the blushes. In each palette we have one blush that is brand formula. We have also the quints, which are really great quality, and like I mentioned, I would rather go, when it comes to color choice and quality, with the quints rather than with these big motherships. I wasn't overall super impressed with this collection, you guys, for the money that it is. I really wasn't. Yeah, these are these two palettes if you're interested. And last what I saw on her website is that she really reduced the prices of these palettes, like really reduced. Initially they were around 80 something dollars. I wasn't sure, around $80, but now it's reduced way more. But unfortunately, she took 3 of the eyeshadows from this palette for the Valentine's collection. These 3 eyeshadows, and she put them in a quad, but these are existing shades, and the quad was pretty much kind of expensive compared to what it is, and I honestly wasn't like happy about it at all, especially because I had to do my research in order to find out, hey, I already have those shades, and it's just, I felt like it was disappointing overall. One of my favorites, if not the favorite color story and the palette from Bijou collection was this one, and I definitely would love to use this one more. Lunar Nightshade, gorgeous combination. Like, she did amazing color story here, she really did, having light and dark. And then even though we do have in the most of her queens, we do have shimmery, glittery shades and not enough of the mattes, but here it works, you know, like the way she combined here everything. And once again, the look that I created with this palette, I was amazed. Like, I really loved it. So overall, I would encourage you to go for one of the 4 of these palettes when it comes to quints. And these overall was kind of a disappointed, and I initially thought I'm gonna love the green one, this one, but it was just okay, nothing too special. One of the most used palettes for me, and something that I really loved, and I'm going to enjoy this palette even more. This is her latest Mothership 11, and I have a couple of videos about it, and we already discussed everything when it comes to the color story and everything, in a sense that the conclusion is that hopefully with the next one we will finally get something other than the pink and rosy and bronzy undertones, but overall the quality is great, and I really did love this palette. Besides this Bliss Astral shade that was not performing the same as the other ones. And even in a formulation, like, can you see how, I don't know if you can see how different it is. I don't know, it's just something weird going on with that one, unfortunately. But the shade is looking pretty good in a color story, but in a performance it was kind of a disappointing. Really, really pricey, but I am enjoying it, and I would love to create more looks with this one as well. One of the palettes I was raving about and did not get that much use out of it, which I really should again, is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Fall Romance palette. I really enjoyed mainly these greens. It's more on a cool tone side, and you can create various looks with this. I think that my first look, my main look with this was my favorite one. These two, like I mentioned, are not too close. They are different, even though they may look like they are a bit close in a depth. My only kind of issue is that we don't have any light matte in here. I wish we had something lighter than this. This is more like a transitional shade, even if it's transitional, but yeah, this one also have only 12 months shelf life, so hopefully we'll get used out of it. And the packaging, oh my god, I have to clean it. It's the type of material that picks up everything, so I am the biggest fan of the material that is like sleek and easy to maintain, like Makeup and Mary or Pat McGrath, and not the cardboard one, or in general Natasha's palettes. I love them. Let's move on a little bit to a drugstore palette. So one of the reasons that I bought, and I was kind of surprised in a good way, was this Essence Love Luck and Dragons eyeshadow palette. Now we have different formulation going on. They really went all in when it comes to, we have wet and dry texture, we have matte, we have toppers, we have shimmery metallics, and you can create different vibe with this palette. I have full in-depth video for this as well. For the price that it is, if you are into this type of a color story, I'll say go for it. This is really, really, really vibrant. The quality, for the price that it is, I'll say it's good. Is it like the best quality? No, it's not. But again, what I just remember is that this shade right here really stained my eyelids, which is not, it's not weird for this undertone to make your eyelids stained, you know. It's a classic cardboard packaging, no mirror, and yeah, so they really saved for when it comes to price, to lower the price when it comes to packaging, which is, again, it's fine, but it's magnetic, you know. And yeah, this is the color story that you get from this one. So overall it was fine. I will keep this one. I would love to play more with this, different textures once again. Another drugstore here is the Catrice Earth palette. I'm not sure, well, rarely you see this one available. For the price that it is, I'll say it's pretty cool again. The formulation and the undertones are really great, from the light to the dark. And I didn't try this. I don't know what this is. This is some kind of a base. It's powder base. So I don't know why would I even use this. And then we have highlight here, which, yeah, subtle, beautiful highlight. But you can like combine this in a multiple ways. And they came out with a couple of different color stories with this collection. Once again, for the price that this palette has, and it can vary from drugstore to drugstore depending on where you buy it. It's really interesting where you can get with this. And they are like, the texture is really, really smooth, and the shades go really smooth actually when you swatch them. I did not include in general single eyeshadows that I have. I was just kind of interested in, for example, this one. This is what I got with one of the orders. I can't remember which one of the orders from her, when I ordered from her website. And this is the eyeshadow in the shade Navy, and I'm not quite sure, honestly. I'm not quite sure if this is existing shade or what. But yeah, like the pen size, how much is it? If I can find it, like it's huge. It's 2.5 grams. Just to compare it with the regular eyeshadow, you know, it's huge. Speaking of Natasha Denona, here I have two additional palettes from her. Yucca palette and Xenon palette. I know it's been a lot of the talk about the Xenon palette. Either you like it or don't. I'm really loving this one, and I will definitely use this one more. Also, Yucca palette, I come back to it kind of over and over again, or just use certain shades for anything that I'm doing. I'm really in love with these two palettes, and I'm really loving. You know what, when it comes to color story, like, she really nails it. Like, she comes with such a great ideas for the color story, and every palette has its own vibe, the story behind it, and that's what I really love and enjoy. So definitely been using this one. Besides my dream palette, I think, and yeah, these two are going to be one of my most used palettes that I own. I don't know everything from Natasha, I don't know about, at least at the moment where I can use, I will try to use them even more. Here I have something from Pixi. I wasn't the biggest fan of this palette, mainly because, well, I had two of these actually. Hazelnut Haze eyeshadow palette. I love the undertones, like the specific green was the one that I think I used the most. I wasn't too crazy about this kind of shades right here, but the thing is, when it comes to the pigment of these eyeshadows, I wasn't too impressed with them. I really wasn't. Pigment was okay, but nothing too crazy. The color story didn't do that much for me, so this one as well going to declutter this one as well. One of the high-end brands that recently released their makeup products, Paco Rabanne. I do have 3 duo palettes here. The packaging, it looks pretty cool, I'll say, but the thing is, it's unpractical, especially if something falls in here to clean, to maintain. It's not the best, you know. These are, however, so pigmented. It was insane when I tried this. This one is more like a base, and then this one, pigment out of this world. And the formulation was a little bit different than the usual eyeshadows. They do have something different. I don't know what it is. They are like more on a kind of a creamy side, but definitely super intensive pigment. Thing that I was impressed is that I could pull off the smoky eye only with technically with this palette, so that was pretty cool. They also have quads. I don't have that. I only picked up these. Now they had one green quad that I really was thinking to get, but instead I chose this. Now I wish I took these two, and instead of the macaron palette that I took that green one. Something that I actually received as a gift, and it was from my friend, and somehow I even forgot. This is Manhattan Magic Duo eyeshadow. Somehow I never tried this one. I don't know why. This is so small, and I don't know, I put it somewhere aside. I totally even forgot. I know, I just don't remember what happened. Maybe in between of the moving and stuff, I don't know. I just realized I'm having these and I have to declutter them. Not even been able to try them. I'll check online what's going on with this. I cannot say anything about this. All I know is that I have to declutter it. But if I would try anything, I would love to try this purple one. And with the combo of this silvery light shade would be pretty cool. And when it comes to this applicator, yeah, you guys, I'm in general not the biggest fan of the applicators in the palettes in general. Unless it's a big regular brush, okay, but this doesn't do much for me, not even if I'm traveling or anything. It's just that I need a normal brush, you know. I get that they put this for convenience, but at the end of the day, not something I'm personally gonna use. Let's talk about something that is not marketed as a just eyeshadow, just like a eyeshadow palette. This is Groundwork Defining Neutrals palette. It is for eyes, but also it's for brows, face, and lips. So you can use it all over your face. And I do have actually a couple of videos, but I have a video where I use only this palette. This has been well loved. So the shades that I use for my eyebrows are Sculpted Tourmaline pomade, and these are the shades that I use the most. I use this one the most for my eyebrows, not that much for the sculpting, but you can also, all of these, use like every single shade for your eyeshadow, whether we talk about pomades or we talk about the powders. and the powders are these small right here. Initially, I think everyone thought it's going to be the other way around. And one of my concerns was if this is gonna get dry, because the pomade is like really, well, it's a weird texture. Anyways, it's still working, it's still good, and it's been, what, about this, as soon as this was released, a couple of months ago. So it does have 12 months shelf life, but the thing here is, even if it's not been 12 months, unfortunately, if the pomade gets dry, there's not much that you can do if it's not in its original shape. For example, like Inglots, AMC gel liners, they have 9 months shelf life. And the thing here is, either way, like, especially if you don't take care of them in a sense that you're gonna open and close them immediately when you use them, they get dry really quickly. So they, in general, they don't have longevity, you know. So the thing here is to, when it comes to pomades, that either way, you'll have to replace them with a new one, because if they get dry, it makes your job really difficult to work with. And yeah, once I'm having this for I don't know how many months, and then I open a new one, I realize, oh, this new one is so creamy and easier to work with. But again, you can even use a little bit of Duraline inside if you want to make it kind of easier to work with. But other than that, you know, the fresh product, once you buy it, you'll see the difference. As eyeshadows, these don't have the greatest pigmentation, but if you are looking for something kind of a soft look, this is great. Also, these pomades, I love to use them because they don't dry quickly as my gel liners, which in general I do like to use bases underneath my eyeshadows when I'm creating looks. Something that is new, and I didn't open it yet, so I'm gonna donate this one. This is bronze palette from Natasha Denona, and I don't know how or why I skipped this one. These are already existing shades from her original bronze palette. And yeah, I think these are the tones where most of us can relate to this, for at least day-to-day basis, to wear makeup look like this. I think it looks great. Yeah, definitely. So this one, like I mentioned, will donate this one. I thought when I bought the other 5-pan eyeshadow palette with it, I'm going to make a specific video for you guys to make a full in-depth review just of this palette. I ended up not doing it just because of my schedule, whatever was going on. And yeah, that's about that when it comes to this one. Oh, here we have one of my, I know, a lot of you are loving, some of you can't relate to the blue eyeshadows, specifically these tones of blue eyeshadows. I am loving this palette. The look that I created, I loved it so much. I tried to recreate one of Natasha Denona's looks, and this is worth every single dollar. I am in love with this one. Definitely have to use it. The quality is great. The multichroming here is not shifting like the not most shifting multichroming here, but still it matches the color story, and I am in love with everything in here. So if you like blue eyeshadow, even if you don't, try to give it a shot, you know. I know it's a bit harder to work with it, but I'm really love this palette, and it doesn't have to be that intimidating when you create a look, you know. It's just about the application of on the right spot with the right shade. And yeah, so I will now just organize everything to see what is going to stay, what it has to go away, and what I'm going to donate. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below, and I will see you in my next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.